Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top.
I want to put that smile and the lightning Gant on the thumbnail.
I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
This guy.
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. I don't know.
We'll see. Anyways, yo, it's B-tean Screen has a video today. I'm doing fantastic. Back to you again in another episode of the Pheonix Red Attourney stuff. And we're going to find out how exactly Mr Gant murdered his victim.
There's the burp again. I haven't eaten anything today too, so I don't know where these burps are coming from.
Oh, that's just from the air releasing from your stomach. Whenever you breathe in, you can actually release air and cause yourself to burp. So if you yawn a lot or like stuff like that, hiccuping is kind of the same. It releases air from your stomach and you can have a burp. So even if you don't eat, you can still do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mostly when you like swallow, it does that. So you may not be intending to do it, but like you swallow and then you just get a burp.
Okay, we need to get the show on the road. Hey-o, it's PatchyEcho. Yeah, I
Science
burped,
with
and it's
B-tean.
February 25th, 12:06, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2.
Yeah, science with B-tean is always fun.
Hey.
Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
We were about to just get down and funky.
Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. I'll come back later. There we go.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You got a lot of nerve, pal. Made a detective runner all around while on duty. To top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
I take it Lana's having you run errands again?
Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there is a break in today's trial.
Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day.
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so.
You could at least study some evidence law, really.
Dang.
The prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message.
A message?
She said, fuck you. She said if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book.
I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Alright.
Evidence law secretly slipped in the pocket. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence.
That's where you're wrong, detective.
Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more?
To the chief of police, yes.
You gotta be kidding me, pal.
You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Gibson. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there.
What?
And we're going to expose him. Pants down and all. This case has hurt too many people, and it's time to bring it to an end.
February 25th, 1252, District Court, courtroom number 9. Again, German word for no. Rabble rabble. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well... normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution?
Have the defense call a witness.
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal.
Yes, will you marry me, Wright? Then the defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, will you marry me? You do realize this is your last chance.
To propose.
If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over.
The defense calls. Time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Him, right? I haven't figured out him.
Jake Marshall.
I should
No,
bring him out.
it's bring out the victim.
Damon Gant. Damon Gant. Defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As the defense is partnered 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel you should hear what he has to say about it.
As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand.
Yay.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
It started with him, it shall end with him.
What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yes, we are sure.
Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? But please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police.
Now then, Chief Gant, court requests to hear your testimony.
Oh, righto. What's with the grim face?
First, let's clear up this SL9 incident.
Oh, you mean that time that Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already.
There's still some things unaccounted for.
Oh, like what?
Like the role you played in all of this. You don't expect a 14-year-old girl to move a limp body across the room, do you?
Son, either you're very brave or very foolish.
I'm both.
You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
What? Is that true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. But don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. You skipped something, but that's fine. Just remember. Or it looked like you skipped something, I don't know.
I don't think so. I just
I
pressed it
don't know.
once.
I don't know. If this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, seeing as how you're the murderer, I think it won't be.
Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already ranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
But then we also looked into a safe.
Is that when Dark was arrested? He was lying on the floor unconscious. Stab. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut.
It seems that this happened. Oh yeah, that's clear cut. Yeah, sure. As police chief has the right to refuse to testify, and better him hard and fast. Alright.
Present at number 5, statement 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There you go.
What do I have to do?
Nope, not the cloth. What's the other piece that you found? In the safe.
Save. What's this, right?
Yeah.
You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up.
Explain yourself.
Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example.
That's that blue badger you showed us earlier.
It's a fucking jar! A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk.
It was found where?
You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation.
Rabble. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh. Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy.
He is my rival, damn it. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery?
Who, me? Or do you mean you?
Me? Why would I have anything to do with that?
Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment.
What?
Whoa.
If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work.
Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together.
Well, you're a murderer. I put that together.
Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragments and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. They were found if the Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
So, the third or fourth one, whichever one it was.
Press the last one.
Yes, Your Honor.
When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences.
Oh.
Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Udgy, in return though. I know, that place, right?
Oh no. The torture chamber. What are these guys? Telepathic?
Yeah, walkthrough says to press everything. I say just press statement 6.
Okay. Oh, wait, no.
Oh. The hell?
There's only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's only 5, Patchy. Go press the last one.
Yes, press the last one.
Really, Chief Gant. At the very least, there is one large benefit that you reaped from all this.
Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit?
That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police.
Oh.
The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is a sufficient motive.
Ho 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 ho. Oh, well, that's a good one.
Huh?
Do you really think I'm that incompetent?
What do you mean?
Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little.
Is that true, Edward?
Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway.
Yeah.
Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
Press.
Yes, press.
Nothing in it for you.
Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right, you don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people, that's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho 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 ho. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy.
Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone else? For an accomplice?
Yep.
Sure, you might not help anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone.
Mr. Wright? It appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand.
That's not what I mean.
Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence?
Here.
Yep. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant?
I believe it's quite obvious in light of circumstances. No Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? As for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job of change was you, Chief Gant.
But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets?
My goodness, Uji, get it together.
Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her.
Righto, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something.
What?
Do you have any proof of this, that I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing?
I mean, we could have recorded the talk yesterday, and that would have been good evidence. Lana, you chief inquiry to protect Emma. There's no way she needs to testify against Gant.
I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless... that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Or which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about... the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean?
What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take a rap to cover up his involvement.
What? Order! Shut up! Shut up! Order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious.
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible! Rabble.
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said in easier to understand language.
It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now.
It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this.
Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder?
Good question.
Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant, Goron Gant, is just a man. The question is he a criminal? Believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. No. Wrong page.
Wrong page. Okay. Is it this one?
That's not a screwdriver. You missed it.
Is it this one? Oh yeah.
Yeah, who's...
yeah.
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There is one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. Bunch of 7.
Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number.
It's your number.
What? How do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
7 digits? You don't mean.
I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was a bunch of 7. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
Oh, this is getting good.
Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search at my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law.
Edward, whose side are you on?
But right now, this court demands from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want.
I thought he was gonna say I can piss on anything I want.
Piss on the moon! Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room.
I find that hard to believe. That you always go to the bathroom alone. Maybe the evidence room, that makes sense, but like the bathroom, I don't know. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he?
Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
You haven't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? The straw's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. The straw's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
Sorry, what was it? No, it's not on this page, it's next page. This one, right?
Yeah.
Detective Goodman lost his ID card on that day of the crime.
Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it.
The Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police.
Yet you are in possession of the report. Which means you can't be sure if he filed it.
He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
He needed to.
Yes, to transfer the evidence.
Oh.
Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him?
There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Rabble, 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 rabble. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman.
Exactly.
But wait. There's more. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No!
The electric door.
Rabble.
That's going on the thumbnail.
Chief Gant, you did it.
The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course.
You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony.
Everyone except me. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was just a useless clue, just taking up space.
How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this.
Nope, you missed it.
Oh, you missed it?
Yep.
This.
Nope. Yep.
Oh, what's this?
Yep.
This is how we moved Detective Goodman's body.
Parking stop, Miles Edgeworth. You mean?
The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car.
Rabble. You mean I carried the victim's body?
Precisely so.
But wait, even you know. I didn't plan on returning to my office. How did the ceremony finish that day?
But you did return. Tell me, why?
Ah! I was asked to go, by Chief Gant no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here.
Yeah. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk.
Rabble. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car?
Yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. You transported the body, your accomplice, Miss Lana Sky.
Rabble. Order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Stark took at the prosecutor's office. This is not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It's exactly the opposite.
It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe your time's up. My time's up. Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special.
But the cross-examination isn't finished yet.
Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapon.
Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Well,
You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright,
Your Honor?
do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Sky dispose of his body?
Do I have any concrete proof?
Nope.
I don't.
Nope. You've got nothing.
Oh, I can't let him. Gotta keep the pressure on. Alright. I'm still gonna continue with what I thought I had.
Okay.
Just to prove my thought process.
Yeah.
Because, like, technically, yeah, this is the knife, right? From the
Yeah.
design. Yeah, so, like, this was, like, she wrapped it up and put it in the muffler. Why else would she have it there when there's another knife in his body? Right? That's, like, where my thought process goes. So, like...
So, what exactly is his evidence?
It's proof as to whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the chief's guilt. Let you be the judge.
But I am the judge.
Oh, right. Well, what do you think, Your Honor?
What I think, Mr. Wright, is I'm going to be late for lunch.
I guess it wasn't enough. Yeah. Okay.
You've got nothing. You've got nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Yes. There's no use showing evidence. I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence.
CIG. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief.
What?
Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. Seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest to you.
And now we hear Lana object.
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency.
Oh, Edgeworth's gonna object. Dang it.
Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony.
The lady who knows the truth. Another witness.
In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony.
But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse testimony.
Chief Gant can suck my dick. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions. raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
You may not willingly tell. You may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Oh, okay. I'm being called. 1 minute.
No problem. Ma. Okay, cool.
And I have returned. I am back. Don't worry.
Yay.
Yay. I had to grab dinner before coming back now. So,
Yay.
the lady is obviously Miss Angel Star, right?
Nope.
Oh, is Lana Sky here?
The defendant, Miss Lana Sky.
Yeah, obviously. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Very well, the court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony.
Yeah.
This court is now in Oh, hold on. Huh? Oh, hold on. Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder.
This isn't good.
Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. All right then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. So I may have lied, but you'll see why. February 25th, 2:04 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Looks like we managed to stay in the game.
Yeah, thanks for your help, Edward.
That chief, he's something else, eh, pals?
He's a murderer. He never comes you.
I'm not a detective anymore.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Ah, don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office.
Yes, we have a bodyguard now. My office?
Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with.
Could he mean Maya?
Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand?
Not fair, he has the right to refuse to testify.
Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said. But Chief, that's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
Risk. What did he mean by that?
It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Oh, that was Emma. I thought it was your sister.
No, not yet. Emma, are you okay?
Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So she's heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before.
No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved? Well, it is kind of like stress off the back.
Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she... Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do.
Yeah, that must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault.
Yes.
It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Yes.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. You want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery. But he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
I see.
Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act.
Emma, why don't you wait it?
No, I'm going with you. I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth.
Yeah.
Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this.
Right it is.
And this is where the lie comes in, because I forgot they split into 2 parts.
Ah.
So.
Are you fine with
Spread
doing
some love into the world. Unless we're not ending here. It's your video, so.
I mean, the finale needs to be long.
What are we at right now?
48 minutes. Hour and a half is fine.
Oh,
with
we
me.
still got... Okay, alright. If you say hour and a half, then we'll do hour and a half. Because we still
Alright.
got the credits, dude.
Yeah, but that's where we talk about our next series.
Oh, okay.
You know, I already said this with the finale, so it's fine. Let's continue.
Rip, that's true. We did say it was the finale. February 25th, 2:21 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. Water tastes so good.
It does.
Now then. Will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Jimmy's not that bad.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only one we can have to get Gant. Alright.
Worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Lies!
You sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana! If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've gotta help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
What if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister.
Why is she telepathic?
Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, there's no time for start second-guessing myself.
The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Alright, G.
Press the fourth statement.
Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. You say you did this all by yourself?
Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body.
What? The prosecutor marshal died from an unfortunate accident.
That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle.
That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies and more lies.
All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and then moved the body. Nope, go back.
Oh, what?
Yep, press.
You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound?
And then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders.
My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to answer for the sake of others. The first one?
No.
Or did you move the body? When you showed up at the scene, where exactly was the victim's body?
It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the desk was found by what? But the body was found by your desk.
But the desk was found by your body.
Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason the sky moved the body. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan.
Press.
Presents.
The jar.
Yep.
This guy, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister.
You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered?
If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony.
A contradiction in my testimony?
You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan."
That's right. Do you have a problem with that?
It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood.
Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments.
Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have been broken before he died.
Ah!
He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Damn, speaking truth.
Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message.
Yeah.
We may be missing something critical here.
Something critical?
Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Yeah.
Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony.
Yeah, you better.
Jar and message in blood. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
But you missed one piece of the jar.
You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Which one shall we press? Or present?
You can present, actually.
Yeah, before. Fine. Okay. So, yes.
4.
4. 1, 2, 4. Present. This is jargon, right?
Yeah.
This guy, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of.
What?
We found this final piece of the jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe, but how?
No, she really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it.
But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. The night of the prosecution marshal was murdered, You were not the first one to show up at the scene. Chief Gant got there before you.
Rabble, 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 rabble. Couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
I'm afraid that's unlikely. Pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha, can you believe that? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
No. No. Rabble, 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 rabble. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called?
Fabrication of evidence.
But why would Chief Gant do that?
In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear?
In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear what happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the chief's puppet.
Oh, she's a bitter person.
No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make it the most foul lies to defend their clients.
Foul lies? Isn't that coming from my own clients?
I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth.
Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap?
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright?
Lana, maybe right after all.
What do you mean, Mr. Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
This guy,
Miss-
please testify once more.
What?
If evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
This guy, if you will.
I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
Yeah.
All right, the witness may testify once more for the final time.
Final time.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor sword? You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof.
You took a picture of the crime scene before you did anything. That's smart.
I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
What? To me?
It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed.
Why am I so like able to predict what's gonna happen here? Like sometimes, like in a joking manner. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. Yes, picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I think I remember getting something from her. That.
Let's check that evidence again. Must be a picture in there somewhere.
Looks like there is something stuffed in there. Do I have to present it?
Maybe. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Hey, there's a picture here. Sorry, my cat got into my room, but I don't know where you are.
Fluffy kitty. Oh my.
He's not really fluffy, no, not really. He's more
This
like
is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Mr. Wright! That piece cut out from his vest, could that be?
the cloth we found inside the Chief Gant. There you go. Yeah. I knew we had to present it at one point. I thought it would be fine. It's fine.
Cloth! It had fingerprints on it. Whosever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma.
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer.
Yay.
Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
So last one, present the cloth.
Yeah. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled.
Why the hell are you mad?
Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What, now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort.
This must be that risk we were talking about earlier.
Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Ah, so what? You think I'm worried?
Well, those sounds make it sound like you were worried. Plus that lightning shooting out of your eyes, that too.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean?
You're making them right now.
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Someone. So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is this true, Mr. Wright?
If I show that piece of evidence now, I'm sure to be made out as a murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries, whatever.
What do I do now? I better think this through and carefully. I cannot afford to make the wrong decision. We present it, right?
The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall. If you present it, you get the bad ending.
Oh, I want the good ending. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
What? You lie! Chief Gant. You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why didn't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? Looks like part of it. Oh, whoops. Looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department.
He just dug his own grave. I love this.
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it?
Yes, indeed. We're happy to see him die.
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her? I knew Lana. If I made her look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Doc convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you.
2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe?
But why? For insurance, of course.
AKA blackmail. Yes.
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. Do you mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. What if you fabricated all the evidence? What's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Ho, ho, ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Wrighto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant. So you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe.
Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late.
It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, the victory is mine. Do I?
Yes.
Show it now?
Yep.
Okay. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
Yeah.
The vase! No, just kidding, it's the cloth.
Well, let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh yes, at last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requested that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. It must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean... it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Ho, ho, ho. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Raito had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that. Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
Very well. I'll tell you. We should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. Yep, I'm allowed to do this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Emma Sky. What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Emma.
But why? Why didn't you tell me? Rabble, 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 rabble. Ho, 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 ho. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along. And you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Sky. You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Sky, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet.
Ha! I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. Boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?
No, my cat's actually laying over there. Now he's just staring at me weirdly.
Cats do that.
Yeah.
Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer?
Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh, and what's that?
Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What? What?
Mr Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was Emma Sky, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? Contradiction? What is this fool babbling about?
I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
He literally just used the cloth that he cut out and put her hand on it, didn't he?
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict?
See again, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Is it this one?
Yep.
Yeah,
And what exactly is this supposed to be?
The blood. It's the blood. This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs were no doubt punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, but that piece of cloth.
Has no blood.
Wait. There's no blood on it. Ah!
Since Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on that sword at the time.
No, this is nonsense!
Yeah. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then, tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword.
Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it.
Remember what you admitted only moments ago? that you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic incident. Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer.
No!
I love this. It's finally all over. I love this. He just like dug his own hole.
Objection. That was close, Righto. You almost had me.
True.
Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is the legal evidence. Rabble, 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 rabble. Order, order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Aji? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your
Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, the piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair! Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last lap's on you, son.
You admitted to it, though.
I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True, illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence isn't illegal. Well, Mr. Wright?
It seems at last. Time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth?
I did not.
You did not?
I admit, I refused to present it at one point.
Ha ha ha! So the evidence is illegal.
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
No, Aji, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
Is that this?
Yeah, evidence law.
Yeah. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law.
Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have the approval from the police department.
Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 industry.
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless.
The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Mr Gant.
You yourself confessed to a certain truth.
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh, yes. No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth.
The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who could have done, who could be Damon Gant. The killer was you.
No. No. Oh. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me.
Damn.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprint under Detective Gumshoe's locker.
I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous.
Yep.
I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body.
Yep.
I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Grr.
Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how can you get Miss Guy involved in all of this?
Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take.
So you have the jar fragments and the glove.
Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer.
That's true.
They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
Yep, indeed. Yeah, ha 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 ha.
Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, G? What? What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here and Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
There are two things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky? You no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top.
I want to put that smile and the lightning Gant on the thumbnail.
I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Miss Sky.
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. Huh. It was nothing.
Sure. Liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it! I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Skye. Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. Long time since I felt free of these heavy chains.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
Innocent. Not guilty, same thing.
Yay, confetti everywhere! That is all. This court is adjourned.
Yay.
February 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2.
At long last, it's finally all over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. At least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too. But Lana didn't say a single word to me.
She doesn't have to.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
Dude, you've done it again.
Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later.
Wait! What is it?
You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all around while on duty. Top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone.
Lana! Predictable!
Lana!
Should you be doing this? You're still under arrest, you know.
Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now I realize I was wrong.
Yep.
I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years.
That's fair.
I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me.
Yeah, true.
No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis. I'm such a fool. Took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma!
Aww. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find our way back to our rightful path. It is from there that we move on toward a brighter future. Pheonix, Wright. Alas, that's what I felt, watching the two sisters make up.
Mr. Wright? Mr. Gumshoe? Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
Edgeworth?
Stop hiding and come over here.
Man, where was he hiding?
I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
But you're not alone. You got us.
I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now.
But Edgeworth?
Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. This one? No.
Nope. It's on this page.
Is it the cloth?
No. What's something that both you had and Edgeworth had?
Oh, the evidence list.
Yeah. It's the picture I drew.
Our counter attack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Sorry, we would have been unable to restore Emma's picture.
That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you.
I know. Seems I owe you my thanks too, Wright. But what I face now is my problem.
Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court.
Farewell. I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. Seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will.
Oh, that smile gets me every time. So, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. Journey to rediscover myself.
Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal.
Huh? What is it, detective?
There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But
I thought you said it was okay.
yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story.
Huh?
Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either.
Huh?
Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see,
It's been an hour.
Mr. Wright here is the one who'll be footing the bill.
Huh? Huh?
What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yes, a broke detective, a high school student, and an attorney. Yes. I'll be paying most of it, I see.
Come on, guys, let's go. So it's
Oh.
the end.
Yay!
How did you enjoy your first Ace Attorney game?
It was fun.
Who cares about saying it? We can talk.
Yeah. It's fun.
And your favorite case was?
Probably case. Whichever one the samurai one was.
Yeah, that'd be case 3.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite.
Yeah. Is there a character that you wish will come back?
Lana.
And do you want an answer to it
No.
right now? You
No.
don't want an answer to it?
No,
Okay.
'cause- I don't know.
Okay.
Like I know that Edgeworth and probably Gumshoe coming back later on. Yeah. I know Pheonix Wright will come back.
Yeah.
Maya's probably gonna come back in the next game. Just because like she went off the train and now she's gonna come back. All powered up psychness. Okay, so she's not. Okay, gotcha.
Oh, I'm not saying anything.
Well, so, do you want to announce
Oh,
the next
yeah.
series?
Well, it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next series we're gonna be working together. I believe it's a versus, is what B-tean was saying, not a cage lock or anything like that, just a
Yeah.
versus. It's
Just-
going to be some version of Fire Red. I say some version because I tried randomizing Omega, and the randomizer was not having it.
Yeah.
So, we doing a Fire Red, Leaf Green versus something. Maybe just the normal game randomized. Who the hell knows?
In
Because
which,
the randomizer just doesn't like me.
I'll just win easily anyways. I'll have a
What was that?
legendary for my starter, and then I'll just like
Oh.
steamroll, and you'll be left in the dust. Like a
Okay.
sunflower.
All right. So yeah, no, and then that should be. We could start that up on your birthday.
We could. Oh no, no! Yes, it died.
So yeah, sometime in August, because I'm still at school and I'm still trying to get my channel kind of started up
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how much more of this do we have?
Of the credits? I mean, we still got some. I don't remember who it ends with. But being a southern voice, that was a little tough. Gotta be honest, because I kept wondering, like, am I southern enough? Am I whatever? Or western? He was western, not southern.
Yeah. And this one, half demon, half
I
woman.
loved voicing her.
Yeah.
My voice box didn't when she was a demon, but oh my gosh, Von Karma,
Von Karma was.
Groove Von Karma, man, that voice. I stuck to it, but oh my gosh.
So, what would you say your favorite voice was for this? That you did.
Favorite voice that I did? Edgeworth, really.
Yeah. I'd say my
Yeah.
favorite is either the little kid or the police troller, whatever the dude was.
Oh, Mike Meekins.
Yeah.
Ooh, Judge.
Yeah, the judge.
What was his name again? Mr. Left. Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be. Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go.
Yeah,
Did we
he's
end off
good.
with you, Mr. Judge?
Maybe.
Nope. Wait, we still. If it's translation, we got something. Oh my gosh! And then a new Ace Attorney game is coming out. I want to say very, very soon.
Really?
Don't remember if it was in the holiday season. Oh, nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick.
Oh wait, is this just Pheonix going around and saying hi to everyone?
I believe so, yeah. So if anything, Maya just gave you a new thingy background and setting and whatever.
Ah.
I did enjoy being Maya, even though it was just kind of the same voice I gave for Emma.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it me,
Mr. Edge.
Mr. Edge? Oh, there you go.
Boy. I did not like voicing him. He was weird.
What's going on?
You're being murdered.
He re-murdered? Is that what you said?
You're being murdered. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, producer, executive producer. Oh, hello. Everything went away.
For you?
Thanks for coming to see me off. Yeah, for me it did. Can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book.
The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you get to do something.
Oh, what? There's a photo in here. Oh no, there's a letter. Oh, it's her when she was younger. Oh.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay, Capcom.
Capcom.
Or Mock Cap. Mock Pack.
Oh my gosh. Spread some love into the world with me. B-tean. Oh, what the hell? B-tean. Screen team. I will see you next time as a Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
And maybe other things. But I think that's what's next is Pokemon.
Yeah,
for
probably.
sure.
I'm gonna miss recording with you for a month.
They'll be fine. We have the server.
You know what's funny? I'm ending this with you, and then I'm starting a new project with my friend. So like, it's just gonna keep rolling.
Hell yeah.
So, final words of the episode.
No, just see you guys next time.
Can you do?
Oh, peace out from B-tean Screen. See you next time. Bye-bye.
So close.
Oh, what? We'll do it again. End us off.
Peace from B-tean Screen. See you guys next time, and bye-bye.
Darn it. Ah, well.
You almost had it. Maybe next year.
Almost. Well, next time. Yeah. But, yep.